Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 564 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you. And coming up on the show, we have 8 guests for you this week, which means I have a list. So we've got Jack Cattell. He's got music. Also, we'll be having a chat about his recent work and a forthcoming gig a little bit later on this year. Vicky Wright joins us. It's the anniversary of the 100th cap of her father, Billy Wright, chatting about all around there, and of course about her mum, Joy Beverley, as well. We will also be joined by Max Ford. He performs in the group The Jerseys, so we'll be finding out about what they've been up to in the run-up to lockdown and what is planned for later on in the year. Neil Curtis joins us to talk about his art. We'll be having a chat with Susan Murray. She is a comedian, as is Aaron Twitchen. Catching up with both of those. Susan will be talking about all things that's going on in her world, and Aaron, pretty much the same, and he's got meerkats to keep him entertained as well. We'll be finding out about that one. We'll be talking yoga with Ariane Leveille. He's joining us from Australia, and we'll be hearing from makeup artist to be Otero Echeverria as well about his work. That's all coming up on the Milk Bar this week. But first of all, Season 3 and Season 1 through 3 box sets of The Windsors are now available for you to get your hands on in your own home, both on digital and on DVD. And this is the series that predicted almost eloping of Harry and Meghan off out of the royal family. To tell us more, I'm joined now by the creators of the series, George Jeffrey and Bert Tyler Moore.
Hello.
Hello.
Not bad at all.
Oh, good. I'm glad all is ticking over well. And we've got you in 2 separate locations, very much like some bits of the royal family now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Harry and Meghan have taken social distancing to the nth degree.
Absolutely.
Prince Andrew's been self-isolating ever since he did that interview with Emily Maitlis.
It's probably best we don't go there for definite. However, you guys doing your satire, you can go all sorts of places we would not necessarily expect you to. And I think when the first mooted the fact the Windsors was going to appear on our screens, there was a little bit of concern that you were going to poke fun at the royals in an unfriendly way. But to be fair, I don't think anyone could ask for a friendlier comedy series, but that still plays on the roles that these people have in society.
Yeah, it's the intention that it treads a line between taking the mickey out of them, but not so harshly that you don't want to spend half an hour in their company.
Yeah, I mean that is the idea, really. I mean, we're having a go at the royal family and the institution, but you've got to be able to like the characters at the same time. Otherwise, it's all a bit miserable. So hopefully they're fun, and like Beatrice and Eugenie are jolly, and Charles is a lovable idiot, and so you can laugh at them and like them at the same time. That was really what we're after.
Yeah.
See, I hadn't expected to like the show before I watched it, and I absolutely adore it. I mean, the way in which it's played. I mean, everything down to the way in which your Fergie carries on. It is an amazing setup and just so funny throughout. I absolutely adore the series.
Thank you so much.
Where did you go to, though, for your bits of inspiration? Because there's got to be some rootings of truth in some of this. And had you got the feelers out? Was the Windsor Telegraph twitching when it came to the Harry and Meghan story, which you so easily managed to predict in Season 3?
We spend a lot of time looking at the Mail Online and various gossip on the internet, and trying to sort the wheat from the chaff, and taking inspiration for that. I mean, there was a lot of talk of Harry and Meghan jumping ship before they did jump ship, so we just went with it and imagined what would happen if they did, and luckily for us they did. Even though ours is a totally different world, so it wouldn't have mattered really if they had stayed. But in retrospect, they were always going to jump. Sorry, that wasn't very funny.
With the talks of gypsy curses and all sorts of other things, which I don't actually think happen in the royal family. But the fun you have along the way, how do the ideas work? I mean, Bert, what's your role in all of this? How does it work for you?
Well, it's me and George share the same role. We just sit together in a room and try and think up some funny stuff, really. But it comes from, like George was saying, from lots of research, and as you were saying, always wanting to have a little kernel of truth in, even though we can go to like very wild and silly areas, it usually spins off some little bit of truth. For example, in this series, there's an episode where Charles is defending all the faiths, which is something he said he wants to do, rather than defender of the faith. And so that leads to him having to conduct a black mass because, the Satanists are a faith, and then he conjures up the devil. And so, and then you're off and running on that particular story.
See, I haven't seen season 3 yet. I'm looking forward to it, so I'm going to be getting myself the box set to enjoy all of this. So, I mean, not too many spoilers, but it is just such fun. What is it like working with your actors? Because obviously Prince Harry has changed face slightly since season 2, but this doesn't take away, because being actors, they just play the same part, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. We lost Richard to the Crown, actually, but Tom, who came in, is equally good in the role of Harry. But that cast is fantastic. We've got Harry Enfield and Hayden Gwynn and Hugh Skinner, all these fabulous actors, and they're all great. And we're very, very lucky with them. They're all hilarious. So we've been very, very lucky indeed.
And when you've worked on stuff before, I mean, I know that there's a number of series that people will just have grown up with the staples. But I mean, what aside of this, you've got to be absolutely massively proud of this. But what is your favourite piece of work that you've worked on aside of this? Because it's got to be your current favourite.
Probably Pete versus Life was my favourite thing we've done before this, which was very funny show about Rafe Spall being a sports writer who has these commentators in his head as he scampers about from sort of one crisis to another, trying to get a job and a girlfriend. And that was very funny, I thought. So that would be my favourite.
And you've worked on so much other stuff, like the Armstrong and Miller Show, Full Britannia, the Kumars, Tracy Ullman Show, that and the rest. So, Bert, what are you going to select?
I would pick out Armstrong and Miller because we had our first sort of big break writing for them. This was back when they were on Channel 4 in the sort of late 90s. And they were just so sort of inventive and willing to go anywhere with a sketch idea. And we had a great time writing with them, and also Mitchell and Webb before they became Mitchell and Webb, before they were kind of famous names. They were writers, and we would sit in a room with them and Armstrong and Miller, pitch ideas, and it was just very inventive, and I think we were both very excited as well because it was our first break. We really wanted to make it happen, and what a great environment to do that in.
So, I mean, the story is ongoing. We never know quite what's going to happen in real life, let alone in the crazy world that you two guys create for the Windsors. But is season 4 being commissioned? Are we going to keep an extra slot on the shelf next to seasons 1 through 3 box sets?
Nothing's been commissioned yet.
No, that's kind of how it works. We're just waiting to see. Because this virus thing happened, and just slightly distracted by that. We'll wait and see until the dust has settled.
Okay. Before you go, each of you, a favourite moment from series 1 through 3. So people can buy this whole lot. They can binge watch, get it on digital, or via the delivery of an actual DVD through your door. Which bits should you be watching out for in your guys' opinions?
Well, I think one of my favourite storylines from the current series 3, is the one where Princess Anne is sort of seduced by David Beckham, who's after a knighthood and trying to, use Princess Anne's influence on the other members of the royal family to get a knighthood, and he's sort of trying to charm her, and she's all very giddy and girly and out of character. And I think the actors were great in that, and I thought it was just quite a nice romantic storyline.
And George?
And like Togo, to series 1, there was a story where Wills is all unsure about being king and starts a referendum to see if we should have a monarchy or not, and he gets on the wrong side of Charles, and they're arguing, and I remember Charles really insisting he had a role, and Will saying, you don't even have a job, and Charles saying, well, somebody's paying me 19 million quid a year to do something. I always like that storyline. I'll go with that one. But there's much to enjoy across all three series.
I would certainly agree with you. As far as that, I haven't seen season 3 yet, as I say. I am very much looking forward to it. The whole lot available now, digital download and on DVD. Get your hands on a copy of the box set of The Windsors. Indulge yourself and have a little bit of escapism from the real world, even though there's some hints of reality in there too. I was going to say thank you to George, Jeffrey and Bert Tyler Moore for joining us, and for all the work you put into The Windsors so far, and long may your reign continue.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It seems like all they want to do is see you fail. Stick to your guns, 'cause in the end you will prevail. Maybe then they will all want to know your name. Talk about how they knew you before you hit the fame. They look down their nose at you like you're worth nothing at all. The first to jump on your case if ever you should fall. You'll be the one laughing if you finally break through. 'Cause then they'll spin their lies and say they always had faith in you. Like a beer bitch, but won't you just keep trucking on? Just don't stop even if you feel that chance is gone. You lost the battle but the war can still be won. So just keep trucking on. Just keep trucking on. But if you don't make it and they all don't know your name, don't think all the efforts you put in have been in vain. Though you may not be famous and you may not have it all, you can still make a living and that's all I'm in this for. Like a beer bitch, but won't you just keep trucking on? Just don't stop even if you feel that chance is gone. You lost the battle but the war can still be won. So just keep trucking on. Just keep trucking on. 'Cause though the road will twist and turn, lessons will be learned. Though the road will twist and turn, you won't crash and burn. You won't crash and burn. Like a beer bitch, but won't you just keep trucking on? Just don't stop even if you feel that chance is gone. You lost the battle but the war can still be won. So just keep trucking on. Like a beer bitch, but won't you just keep trucking on? Just don't stop even if you feel that chance is gone. You lost the battle but the war can still be won. So just keep trucking on. Just keep trucking on. Just keep trucking on.
Singer-songwriter Jack Cattell has been doing some amazing work over the last 2 years, and it's been great to feature him on the show regularly. We have him here now for a bit of a chat from lockdown. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. You keeping out of trouble?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much trouble to get into at the moment, is there?
Yeah, a bit limited on the gig front as well, but you are still performing online, and you've got some stuff lined up for later in the year, I think, when this has all hopefully calmed down.
We have, yeah. We've announced a new gig this week, which hopefully will be out of lockdown and quarantine by then for July the 18th at Dead Wax in Digbeth. Mm-hmm. So it's good to be going back there. We did a show in February there with the band, which was really good. We got a good crowd in, so that was good. But yeah, at the moment it's just live streaming and trying to follow suit with every musician that's going about at the moment and trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, no, I think people are actually getting to hear an awful lot more live music than they ordinarily would do anyway, and they get to do it from the comfort of their own home. The drinks are cheap, we know that much, and they get to have nibbles too, and it's just a nice, chilled, relaxed way of doing these things.
Yeah, you can't complain. I mean, people notoriously don't want to leave the house, and now that people are stuck inside, we've got a monopoly over the social media sites to live stream, and people have got no excuse to say no now, which is always good for us.
And just like normal, you're doing it for the exposure.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we do it for the enjoyment, but the exposures now especially is brilliant. I mean, I'm not sure about everyone else, but my live stream numbers have certainly gone up since people have been stuck at home, because they want to release, and music is sort of that release, and it gives them a chance to do something instead of just sitting watching the TV all the day.
And what else have you got going on musically? Is there some new stuff on the way? How does it all work for you and what you're producing at the minute?
Obviously it's tough, but luckily we recorded 2 singles. So we recorded Love Me, which is already out now, and people can go and stream that. I think it's just hit 6,000 streams on Spotify, which is crazy. And we recorded another single which is called London Town when we recorded that, so we're really glad we did that now. In hindsight, knowing what's going on, it's lucky that we did that.
So I mean, have we had a full album from you recently?
The last album was 2 years ago, I believe.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure we had a chat back then. So but there's been plenty of singles and stuff along the way in the meantime, and this continuous output, I think, nice and healthy, and keeping the music there. And how do you think it's developed over the last few months and years?
It's just going up and up. I mean, we're getting more traction from people. Like, people seem to be taking notice now. And with the addition of Josh and Ali on bass and drums, I mean, they've just brought a whole new sound to my stuff, which is exactly what I wanted when I was getting a band in. And they've got different ideas as well, which always helps. I mean, the recording of Love Me, people have been saying how different it sounds, but how much better it sounds for it as well. And I think that's having 3 people's ideas instead of just myself.
But it is your music at the core, though, and it's still got the Jackatel branding on it. So, I mean, what happens next then? You've got 2 singles. Are you now guys sort of, sitting on Zoom meetings, writing music together?
Like you say, it's still centred around my sort of songwriting. I write the basics of the song, and then I'll give it to Josh and Ali to do what they want with bass parts and drum parts. I mean, I know nothing about drums. I know a bit about bass, but Ali blows me out the water on that one. She's a really, really fantastic bass player. Yeah. I'm lucky to have her. Lucky to have Josh as well. So, yeah, I'll write a basic song, so the chords and the lyrics, and then I'll send it off to them, and they'll put their stamp on it as well, and we just sort of mash the ideas together and get it out in a rehearsal room. Run over it a few times, and then usually it's good to go. From
there, as you say, gigs on the way. There's working as a trio, and will there be a change of name? Or is it just going to be Jackatel and Band?
For now, it's probably just going to be Jackatel and Band. I mean, we've got so far with that. I think it'd be stupid to change it now while we're getting the attention that we are. We're getting. A lot of bands know who we are now. That's good for support slots. BBC Introducing have obviously played quite a few of our tracks now. So as much as Josh and Ali are still equal to me in the band sense, it's still going to go under my name just for the marketing purpose that it's already been out there for like that for 3 years. So I think it'd be daft to change it.
And you've got a good logo, so why knock it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Does the job. Okie dokie. So you have a guitar there. Are you prepared to sing a song for us, and what are you going to play?
Yeah, I mean, I can play our current single, Love Me. Hopefully we'll get a few more streams on Spotify. We're aiming for 10,000, so if people want to go and stream it, go over to Spotify and check it out. I'll play a little acoustic version for you. I saw you from across the room, dressed to impress. You were dancing to your favourite tune. You looked up at me, so seductively. I felt this weird sensation taking over my body. Did you feel it too? As the sparks, they flew between me and you. It was dangerous, contagious. You got me trapped under your spell. Won't you set me free? Come on, love me. You make me feel alive. Oh, come on, love me. I need us to survive, so come on, love me. Don't show me to the door. Come on, love me. Don't leave me wanting more. I can see it in your eyes, by the way you look at me with pure desire. Spontaneous, I can't help you 'cause I wanna be the oxygen you're gonna need to fuel your fire. Come on, love me. You make me feel alive. Come on, love me. I need us to survive, so come on, love me. Don't show me to the door. Come on, love me. Don't leave me wanting more. Don't leave me wanting more. Well, everything I do it all for you. And now I'm on my knees, begging please, take my hand, I wanna be your man. I'll treat you like a queen. With everything I do it all for you. And now I'm on my knees, begging please, take my hand, I wanna be your man. I'll treat you like a queen. Well, come on, love me. You make me feel alive. Well, come on, love me. I need us to survive, so come on, love me. Don't show me to the door. Come on, love me. Don't leave me wanting more. Come on, love me. Won't you love me, baby? Won't you love me?
Excellent stuff, Mr. Cattell. Thank you very much for that one. Give us all the details on where people can find you and your music.
So, Facebook, Jack Cattell Music. Instagram is exactly the same. Twitter is J Cattell Music. And of course, you can find me on Spotify and stream Love Me.
Do it, stream the whole lot. Anything you can find on there, it's well worth a listen. I'll tell you that much. Go back in time and get the back catalogue as well. For now, Jack, thanks for having a chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. Really appreciate it.
Now I'm joined now by Vicky Wright, daughter of legend Billy Wright, and she is here to have a little bit of a natter, and she's got her dad in the picture as well. How are you doing?
Hello, Jason. I'm, well, doing okay in these weird and scary and sort of unknown times. Everyone's sort of in the same place, aren't they? Which is lovely. Yeah. So I've got Dad with me, which I need at this time. So I'm just happy that I feel lucky. And I don't know about everybody else, but at the moment I'm here with my beautiful daughter, who's Billy's granddaughter, and I'm just counting my blessings at the moment. It's very scary though for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And family are spending more time together than normal, but it is a good time to chat and reminisce. And I know with your family history and the work that you did, particularly with your talk at Molyneux last year, there's lots to look back on and lots of great things to talk about and some fantastic memorabilia around the home.
I know, so ask away. I'm here, I'm ready to talk about him because it brings me great joy to talk about him, especially today. as the 11th of April was, probably a lot of your followers will know if they're avid football fans, that's the day that Dad got his 100th cap for England. And so I've had loads of things on my Twitter feed of how incredible that day was. And so I've got a little picture here. I don't know, I can't see the screen because my eyes are so bad. But if I put them up, can you kind of see?
We can.
That's him on the day when he actually walked out. And I can admit it because it's in the press so everyone knows, but I'd only just been born. I think I was 6 days old. And so that must have been an incredible week for Dad, mustn't it? That he had a new baby. He was captain of England, and they won as well against Scotland. So it must have been a really happy time for him.
Yeah, I mean, how do your memories work going back to this time? As you say, 100th cap, you were literally days old when that was received. So I mean, for a football playing career, you must have very limited recollections.
Well, to be honest, Jason, of his playing career, I have none. Mm-hmm. Because he retired, that year. He retired in 1959 when I was a baby. So the memories of him playing are all recent ones that, since I've done the talk and sort of researched his life, which started, if I can say, I don't know how long you've got, but it was last year, and my daughter Kelly, who was Dad's first grandchild, and it was the proudest day of his life when she arrived, on a personal level. But I thought for Kelly, what could I do for a birthday present for her? She's 25. And I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll do a small little tribute to Granddad, because she doesn't remember him, and she knows he was a footballer. But I thought, no, I'll just show her exactly kind of what he was. It wasn't just a footballer, in my opinion. So I started to do a compilation of home movies and Pathé News clips as well, and some pictures of him playing, shaking hands with the Queen, getting the FA Cup in 1949, and then his marriage to my mum, Joy, and it started to sort of take this incredible thing of like, oh my God, this story, it's more than this. This is a bigger story. This has to be told. Yeah. Because, and then from my point of view, because obviously growing up with this man who's so adored and loved and is a legend, and he was just my dad, really, and a brilliant one of those. But the personal memories that we've got of him, and I felt I can share this, and the pride that I still feel. And the lessons he taught me, because honestly, Jason, when doing this research, I've not heard one bad thing about Dan. I hope this doesn't create somebody saying, well, this was what he was, because he was my hero, and he was a lot of people's heroes. But he had tough times, and he had his times when he struggled, and I think that's a wonderful thing to share, because Dad always led by example, and he showed me and taught me, which I hope I continue, all the goodness in the world, and sharing and generosity and love and unconditional love and no jealousy and giving and give your time, not lie. So many things that I now carry that flag, and he generally was one of the good people.
Yeah, and a lot of this was in a time before the sort of media attention. Yes, people like your dad were being followed, and with the stories surrounding off on the wedding day, and the media coverage that went around with that. But it is something which footballers are used to on a day-to-day basis now. But it was very different in your dad's day, and particularly having both parents particularly famous, there was a lot of interest in every day, and I'm sure that's something that you experienced as a kid as well, as you were the child of two major celebrities.
Growing up in that environment, I know it's kind of bizarre when I think back to it, but as we all know, that was normal. That was normal. That life for me was a normal life, and I can't even remember. The only things I remember that made me think, well, why are you different to the other daddies and mummies, was that on holidays, this is when I'm talking, we were little, my sister and I were really young then, and wanted to get out of the hotel in Italy to run down to the beach to have their dad build sandcastles and go on the lilos and dive in the swimming pool. And we had to wait, because in those days, of course, it wasn't a quick selfie. It was them getting their cameras out and putting them on the thing and winding on the thing and getting the focus right. Dad would never say no to an autograph or a chat or a picture. And we'd be there and sweltering in this heat. I got sunstroke once, I remember, and Mum was really cross with Dad. I didn't have my hat on and we were waiting to go to the beach. So I do remember thinking, why is this always happening? It doesn't happen to another Daddy, yeah. So those little memories I remember, but the enormity, really, of what he achieved didn't hit me until sadly he left, and the outpouring of love and the tributes and the statue and the bags of letters that we received, Jace. I mean, it could have filled, well, my room 3 times over here in my flat, because letters that just said Billy Wright England from Russia and Argentina, and just saying he was my hero. We'd read every one, and all these. I don't know if you can see this little teddy bear here. I can't see if I'm in the shot, but listen, we have literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these little knitted dolls left outside the ground, which I've never been able to say thank you to everyone. So if any of you or your mums or dads were involved in his funeral day, thank you, because it was overwhelming, that love for him.
Absolutely. And obviously, the love for your mom as well. I mean, being one of the Beverley sisters, they had huge success, and it must be who would you choose to have your photo taken with? Would it be one of the Beveleys or a footballing legend? It must have been a tricky one for all the fans out there.
Yes, I know. I don't. It's a kind of a weird combination, but everyone sort of says it. They were the original Posh and Becks, weren't they? Mm-hmm. And I think they were really. And if you want me to sort of just say the funny story, that in those ones, without me, you can imagine, and maybe some of your listeners will be from that era where there was no Hello magazine or this paparazzi stuff wasn't really happening. That was, it was still obviously newsworthy. But Mum had been married before. And she kind of wanted to keep that quiet. She'd had an early marriage that she always said was a silly mistake, but it led her to Billy, and he was the love of her life. But she had a little boy from that marriage, my brother Vince, who writes for Gunflash, and he was a sports journalist, and brought them together. And on the day of the wedding, Mum wanted to keep it quiet because it was a registry office, and Dad was in heavy training for some event he was doing. I'm not sure if it was the World Cup. I'm not sure of that detail. And so they were trying to keep it quiet. Dad was training very hard, and Mum was rehearsing to do a tour, I think, of the whole country with the Bears. And so they were trying to keep this wedding quiet. And because Mum was in Bournemouth at the Winter Garden Theatre, they decided to marry in Poole at this registry office, and they kept it completely quiet. Anyway, on the day, I'll sort of cut it down a bit. On the day, Dad picked them up. The twins were in the back of the car in their matching outfits, as was Mum on her wedding day. There's a strange one. And it's not here for me to ask, why did you do that? But they all were dressed the same, sitting in this little Hillman Links, and Dad was driving. They drove into towards Poole Town Centre and were stopped at the entrance of the town because of this massive traffic jam, and they couldn't get through, and they were sitting there, and it was getting frustrating. Dad's looking at his watch, thinking, well, we're gonna miss our time if we're not careful. Got a little bit closer, still it was gridlocked, couldn't get through. So Dad wound his window down. I've got the picture that I do in my talk, that the actual moment he rolls this window down and asks the policeman, excuse me, Nate, he said, I'm so sorry. He said, but what's going on in Poole Town Centre today? Because we've got an appointment, we've got to get to quite urgent. And, it's the Lord Mayor's show. Of course, the policeman just leant in, looked at the twins in the back and Mum and him and said, it's your wedding day, Mr. Wright. And so that was the reason. And the reason was that when you have to register that you're going to be getting married, the vicar, who was going to be doing the service, had seen who was coming in on Saturday, told his friend who knew a friend who knew a friend who knew a friend, and before he knew it, the whole of Poole's, and it's such a sweet, innocent story that they didn't even think, they found out, it was just genuinely, oh dear, we must have picked a day where there's something important, which is so adorable and innocent, which is what he was.
Yeah, and so a sweet story about a model family, and we say we've got Posh and Becks now who got all the trappings and massive money that goes with it. It wasn't a day of money back then, was it? It was celebrity. It was a nice living, but it wasn't the sort of cash that we see floating around these days.
Oh, goodness me. No, I mean, Dad didn't make anything really from football, but he never, he was that kind of person. He never felt bitter, or he said we did it for the love of the game. He was loyal and true. Again, all the qualities, Jason, that he never played for another club. It was just always Wolverhampton. He was loyal and true. He had such great morals. But I think, I'm trying to remember now because it was September I did my talk, but I think in the 13 years that he played for Wolves and England, so captain though of Wolves and England, his entire wages, the total money he made, 13 years, was £15,000.
Yep, somewhat different to today. They'd expect that in a couple of 3 days, wouldn't they? But there we go.
Yeah, that's quite shocking.
A different time for football, but I say you must be so proud of both Mom and Dad and the legacy that they both have.
Beyond proud, Jason. And as I say, that statue outside the ground, it takes my breath away, makes me cry every time I see it. And I still, get people, when they go to the matches, they touch his boot for luck. And then the outpouring that I get, if ever I put a tweet up, like I have today, about the 100th cap today, instantly it's hundreds of people, and so many different stories, or my granddad or my grandmother loved your dad and was very jealous of your mum when they got married, and she always had to punch them, and even silly little things mean so much because he was such an influence on my life and such a big part of my life. And now I don't know, oh my goodness, what would he'd be oh my God, cheering from the heavens as how well they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And Robbie Connor is leading the team, and I've got so much respect for him, and long may it last. If please God we all get back to normal. Yeah,
it'd be great to get everything back to normal. It'd be great to have you back in the city talking more about your dad. I know there'll be an appetite for it, absolutely there. But equally, everything else that you do as well. And look to all the family. Hopefully they're keeping safe, and we look forward to maybe catching up in real life sometime, either later this year or early next.
Lovely. Great to talk to you, Jason. Lots of love, everyone. Keep safe. And thank you to the NHS and all those wonderful, brave people that are helping us all. Love you all. Bye.
Arian Lavelle is yoga teacher, spiritualist and all-round nice guy. He has spent time living in Wolverhampton, although he's a little further afield now, and he joins me for a chat. Hello, sir.
Hello there. How are you going?
All good. So where in the world are you at the moment?
I'm currently in Sydney. It's 9 o'clock at night, and I live right near the beach in Sydney, which is lovely.
You have lived all over the world. In fact, the last time we had a chat, you were briefly staying in Birmingham. You've lived in Wolverhampton. So give us a bit of that life journey. How come you've done all this travelling?
Wow, it's such a story. I was a circus performer, an aerialist. Mm-hmm. So I travelled the world doing aerial acrobatics. So actually, I lived in Tettenhall, which was part of Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
And I used to teach aerial at a place called Wolf Mountain in Wolverhampton,
I know
which was
the one.
great.
Uh-huh. And that was part of the not too distant past. But I've said you've done all sorts of things, and yoga is something that you've been sharing online during this time of lockdown.
I have, yeah. I've got my YouTube channel, so I basically just do loads of yoga videos for people because I know a lot of people are in lockdown and are out of a job, and it's a good way to keep fit and kind of spiritually connected as well, and connecting with your breath, reduce anxiety and stress and all that kind of stuff, which there's a lot of at the moment. So I've just been doing that. Like, I still teach yoga. I do live streaming. So the studios I work for, I still teach, but now because you can't do it in a group class anymore, it all has to be online. So we just have to go with it. I can do like handstands and crazy stuff, but it's not about the fancy pose really. It's about how it makes you feel. Yeah, I take people on the journey through the class.
Mm. But I mean, yoga itself is something which it often gets a bit of a bad press in some ways. Yeah, purely by people who are jealous of other people who can get their leg behind their head, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, it's not even, like, the thing is, a lot of people think it's about doing these fancy big poses, right? Whether or not you can get your leg behind your head, it doesn't really make you a nice person, does it? So sometimes people are like doing this image of what yoga is, and on Instagram and everything, there's all these fancy yoga poses, but I think it's the quality of a person that matters more than the thing you can do with your body.
And it's about the relaxation. It's about finding some time within yourself as well. And as you said, we've maybe a lot of people have got a bit more time on their hands than they're ordinarily used to. So this actually gives them a chance to chill out, to relax, and to actually get some sort of suppleness back into their body. And it could be that they come out of this whole lockdown situation feeling much better people.
Well, hopefully, you know, if you spend time and you invest that time in yourself, whether or not it's breathing exercises or helping clear the mind or clear the body of tension, you know, like it's all connected. If you can calm your breath and control your breath, you can also help reduce the stress and anxiety or just the tension that's trapped in your body. And I think there's a lot of stress going around. So if you can connect in with a practice, a physical practice, whether it's a meditation or yoga or whatever it is, anything that makes you move and move energy around, I think it's going to help. Otherwise, you just get stuck in a rut, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And what do you do in your life that helps with us as well? Because, I mean, outdoor exercise, I assume over there is limited as it is over here to make sure we're doing our social distancing and protecting others from the coronavirus. So, you know, what do you do when you're out and about to help with that? And again, as part of your fitness regime?
Well, today, for example, I went for a big walk along the coast, mm-hmm. and I found a secluded spot where I just did yoga, and I filmed another sequence to put on YouTube, so I'll do that soon. I'll do that in the next couple of days. So I generally just go to the coast because I live right near the ocean. Mm-hmm. So I go to the coast and I just sit on a rock and I either breathe and just contemplate, or I move and I do lots of interesting yoga moves. And like for me, it's like, you know, I can do handstands and I can do arm balances and all the crazy things, but it's not impressive at all. It's really just the feeling that it brings, which I'm more, you know, focused on.
And obviously in the Midlands here, we don't have a coast. We have got the opportunity to use garden spaces around us and the home, and say all of these can work and can make for a nice relaxed environment to practice some of these moves in.
I know, and you've got summer coming, you lucky things. Like we're just about to hit winter, you know, winter's going to come soon. So
yeah. I have been in the winter in Australia, and it is better than most of our summers.
Yeah, it's pretty lovely lately, actually. It's nice. But we can't go to the beaches. They've closed all the beaches. Mm-hmm. So you have to walk around on the rocks and you have to stay away from people here. And, you know, they're not so, you know, they're pretty strict with it, but Australia's pretty relaxed with everything. But I think because there's so much space here as well between people, you know, we're not all on top of each other, like, for example, in New York or London. So, but yeah, the social distancing thing's still happening where we are in lockdown, and you just got to keep moving, you got to keep breathing, you got to stay healthy. It's so easy just to get stuck in that rut and sit on the sofa and eat biscuits and drink wine, and I definitely know how to do that as well. But you've got to balance it out, right? So you've got to get outside if you can, get in the sun, get some fresh air. Get in the garden, do whatever you can.
And of course your yoga videos are online. You can get people can do this and get a start on some moves, but you can also be booked to do an online session as well, halfway around the world.
That's it. That's the positive thing about this, which I'm trying to find the positives in everything, right? Mm-hmm. So I usually teach in studios in like Bondi and around the Sydney city area. Now I can have students anywhere in the world. So I've had people tuning into me from Spain, Sweden, from Italy, from India, from America, from the UK, from all over the place. Now people can tune in and we can have a live class session. Mm-hmm. So technology, it's amazing. You can connect with people from all over the world. Sure, you don't have the physical contact, and I suppose that's what this social distancing is all about right now. We can't have this physical contact with each other, but it's definitely important to stay contacted. You have to stay contacted with people through the online medium or whatever it is that you can do. Call them, write them, whatever. You've got to stay contacted because you can't isolate yourself energetically and emotionally. Do you know what I mean? We still need to stay connected to our communities, our friends, our family, whatever the community is. So the amazing thing about this is I can connect with students that I had in England when I lived there years ago, and from all over the place, people that have followed me doing what I do, now they can tune in and do it with me, which is amazing. And I just do it by donation as well, because I know people are out of work, I know people are struggling, and if they've got something to donate, they can do it. I just want to keep this community alive and keep people moving.
Absolutely. Getting a good vibe, getting some spiritual time and some relaxation. Yoga doing the business for you. How do we find you online?
Well, from YouTube, you can just go to search Ari Yoga on YouTube. So youtube.com/Ari Yoga. Or Instagram is Yoga with Arian, Arian. And you can find me on Facebook and everything as well. Just look Arian Lavaniel. But my website also, yogawitharian.com, is probably the easiest one to find, because my surname's quite tricky to spell. There's not many people that have a name like mine, so that's good. So you'll probably be able to find me. But definitely just go to Ari Yoga on YouTube and you'll see my website links on that. There's lots of breathing techniques on there. You don't even have to be able to do fancy poses. You could sit in a chair and just learn how to breathe. So there's something on there for everyone. Yeah, and I'm going to make more. I've got people requesting me do chair yoga, kids yoga, all kinds of stuff. So people are definitely putting out their requests. I'm going to try to get to them as best as I can, because some people, they can't even get out of a chair. They're in a wheelchair or whatever, or so you've just got to do what you can. So that's it.
All you can to feel as good as you can, and make the most of this time when we're spending time with our closest, nearest and dearest, and maybe a family yoga session would actually do the business as well.
That's it. It's all free. Just jump on YouTube and give it a go. Move and get moving and grooving.
Aaron, absolutely fantastic to have a chat with you. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time you are in Wolverhampton. Hopefully we'll have a catch up properly then. But for now, keep doing your yoga and we'll speak soon.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Aaron Twitchen is a comedian, aerialist, and meerkat lover, it seems, judging by his Instagram feed. And he joins me now to tell me what's going on in his world. Hello.
Hi, Jason. How are you coping?
I'm keeping okay and out of trouble. How about you?
I know that we're not meant to. I'm somewhat enjoying this. It's obviously it's terrible. Lots of people are ill and lots of people are dying, like that whole side of it. But the actual moment of being trapped in your house, not being late. As a comedian, it's a lot of traveling around the country. I'm very grateful to know I'm always in the right place at the right time.
This is where we have to stay at home. And I mean, one of the things that has been a feature of your Instagram of late, not only your crazy dancing and all the other stuff that you do to keep us amused, but also the meerkats. To explain about the meerkats.
Oh, the meerkats. They've become a monster of their own. I almost regret it. It's my mum. They're not my meerkats. Her mother's meerkats.
We believe you. Okay, that's fine.
So just before the lockdown, I came down to my parents in Devon. I'm a country boy, so I thought, I'll see it all through them, and I can look after my parents and the neighbours and stuff. And my mum's house, I think it started when we all sort of grew up and left. They are just full of meerkat memorabilia. There are meerkats everywhere, and I thought on the first day I arrived, I just took a picture of a meerkat. And then I just took a picture every day. And I've been here 3.5 weeks. I think I might be halfway through the meerkat.
Okay, so there are no repeats so far. We've got several weeks more meerkats to come.
How long?
Yeah, I mean, have they all got names? Are they individuals?
God, I hope not. They are, so there's lots of most of them are sort of decorative, sort of like statuey things. There are meerkat pictures on the wall. There's a meerkat video. I think we're at fault. I think it's one of those situations, like when you buy like one thing, like you go, I bought this little ballerina, and then someone goes, you like ballerinas, and then suddenly you just get bought a ballerina for every birthday or Christmas, and then you don't have the heart to say no. I don't know if it's that situation, but me and my siblings have been trying to level up. So each time it's like a birthday, like my brother once bought her like a meerkat experience day where you could go and feed the meerkats. And then I was like, how do I? And at one point I do remember searching to buy an actual meerkat. And I think it led me to the black market, and I was like, we've gone too far.
You don't want to be there. No, that's who knows the sort of your meerkat, and it might be one of them that does try and turn up and sell your car insurance. That wouldn't be good, would it? Really?
I think that might be where they start. Well, apparently they're not very nice, meerkats. Someone messaged me on Insta the other day and said they are the most murderous of mammals.
Okay. They keep a lookout for each other, though. I don't know. It's a strange one.
Yeah.
They look cute.
With one eye open. Yeah. Already.
Yeah. Just to avoid meerkats at all costs. Okay. So have you got a meerkat there with you now, just for this moment? Have you got something you can share?
I think. Well, I could literally throw a banana in this house and you'll hit a meerkat.
Yeah.
I've got this. I think is the original meerkat, Timon from The Lion King.
Yeah.
He's quite special to me because I grew up in the countryside. Like, there were no gay people growing up. Like, the first gay people I saw were Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King.
Oh.
There's movie going, isn't it? Lion King. They lived on Pride Rock. It was a clue.
Right. So, what else has gone on in your world then? Because you have been keeping people entertained. And in fact, when you pop up on my timeline all the time because you're producing so much content, and I think this is the most I've seen you wearing.
On a TV. Wow, I don't know. Do you know what? I actually, that's funny you should say that, because I suppose I do have a brand. I remember I had a meeting with my agent at the beginning of the year or the tail end of last year, and he was like, look, Aaron, we really love the style, we really love what you're going for, but I think we do need to, and don't be offended by this, but I do think at some point, and really don't be offended, because we love what you do, but maybe we could get some press images where you're dressed. They're not that bad, thank you.
But this is all part of the fact that you work in circus skills as well. I mean, you're a fantastic aerialist. And when you're doing that sort of stuff, it is mostly lycra and topless, isn't it? That's the way it tends to work.
Yeah, it's a lot of lycra, yeah. A lot of clothes going up your butt. They cut my friend does most of my costumes, and she cuts a tight leotard. She cuts a low leotard. Yeah, but obviously it's a hard time for circus now, and I think for a lot of performers, especially those in physical professions, because it's so difficult to get up in the air or get in equipment and do stuff. So you do have to find other ways to train.
How are you coping with that? What are you doing then? The curtains in your mother's front room in an absolute state now.
I'm absolutely not allowed near my mother's curtains. She would lose her tiny mind. It's lots of. So I work out in my bedroom. I've got like one kettlebell that I rented from a neighbour for £10 a week. She's a sassy one. I use that. I've been trying to work on my handstands. So just before, I'm not very good on the floor. So just before Miss Rona came in and took over, I was trying to learn a handstand, but I've not been allowed to do it. I've only been able to do a headstand. So I'm doing lots of handstands against the wall. My dad, fortunately he doesn't watch things online, so he won't see this, but he's been in this room. The walls are covered in like foot marks where I've been walking up the walls and practicing my handstands.
Okay, well, we want you to do that by that back wall behind the door before we finish this interview then. That's going to be our closing feature. There is the serious side of this thing. You've got to keep in shape to make sure you're ready for when things come out of lockdown. It's going to take probably just a little while to get back into the swing of things, but it'd be great to have this sort of entertainment back, and the fact you're sharing some bits and pieces online actually is keeping people amused.
Yeah, I do think it's nice. I do think there is also another side to it as well that I think about quite a lot. Like me and my girl gang, we chat, but we all live quite apart, so we're very used to chatting to each other anyway. So we're all right, but we're constantly reminding ourselves that we don't have to be productive in this time. Like, we're all dealing with this sort of like huge shared trauma of like the old lives, and I'm aware of like putting stuff online. It can cause pressure for other people. Like, oh, am I doing enough? Am I being productive enough? I mean, you're doing great. Like, you're still able to produce this and get all this out, and that's amazing because that's entertaining for people. But there's also the other side of, like, you don't have to do anything. If all you do through the whole of this quarantine is nothing, you just watch a bit of TV or you read a book, you don't need to produce anything or train anything, like, that's fine. But if you want to, even better.
Or you could actually play Meerkat Bingo and see if you can think of any particular pose or look that isn't going to turn up on your timeline, and see whether you can hit one of those. That'd be good.
Exactly. I want to see meerkat handstands. I don't know what that looks like. I want to see it.
Okay, that's possibly a thing. Right, before you do a handstand against that wall, remember, what we'll do is, you've got a load of great work online. People can follow you on Twitter and be amused, also Instagram. What are all the details, please?
I'm very consistent. I am at Aaron Twitchin across all platforms. So I'm Aaron AA, and then I'm Twitchin like kitchen, just with a TW. Which is good because at the moment we're all stuck in our kitchens.
I'm glad you've got a rhyme for it as well. That's convincing. Okay, Aaron, you've got to now go and do me a handstand.
Well, I can't do a proper handstand.
Go and try something.
I'll try and give you a headstand.
Okay.
I'm not consistent.
Okay, let's see what happens. This could be quite dangerous. Don't hit the mirror. There we go.
Too bad.
Aaron, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing more of your online content soon.
Yeah, yours too as well. Thanks for keeping doing everything that you're doing.
Arturo Echeverria is a self-taught makeup artist doing some fantastic little tutorials online showing his skills, and he joins me now for a bit of a chat. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm very well. I trust that you've been enjoying your time effectively in lockdown, but also getting to show off some of your makeup techniques.
Yes, I think it all started just in this lockdown when I become to be more creative because we don't have anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started to post it on my personal Facebook. And then now it's becoming a little bit bigger and bigger every time.
So what is your usual role in life? Because you're over here in the UK and you started life in Mexico.
Yes, I'm originally from Mexico. Got married, and then I'm working in a marketing and advertising company. Nothing to do with makeup.
Uh-huh.
But now in this lockdown, I just become like a really self-taught makeup artist.
Well, your artwork is absolutely fantastic, and you're using the face and body as a canvas. And with what you're doing there, I mean, the quality is TV and film quality. And we've recently seen you turning yourself into a character from Aladdin.
Yes, actually, that was yesterday, the genie, and I think that was one of the toughest one I've ever done so far.
Mm-hmm.
But it had really, really good response from the public, and it's like a lot of likes, and but yes, it's been crazy lately.
Absolutely, and it's very much a case of showing your starting point as well. And we've seen you doing things like the mask and various other looks. And where is this coming from? Where are the ideas starting?
Well, I think the mask, it only started when I was little, and they always used to tell me that because of my facial expressions, I used to look like Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Of that pretending, and I always wanted to do that. But the other ones, it's only people, friends, family, and just followers that they've been telling me, oh, you should be doing the genie, or you should be doing Darth Maul from Star Wars. So it's all a mix of my imagination, comments from friends and family and followers.
Well, I think you've probably found an additional career once you get back out there in the real world. And certainly with what we've seen so far, it is looking absolutely brilliant. And are there any things that you're maybe thinking of? Obviously, you're needing props to get through some of this, as we saw with Genie. There's hair pieces to add. If you haven't got that around you at the moment, I suppose there'll be a bit of Amazon shopping coming in. But are there any ideas that you're picking bits up for at the minute?
No, actually, I'm not quite sure at the moment, but I'm pretty sure everything, just day by day, every day is a new day in this lockdown. Everything is so different and weird, but we're all in this together. So I think the ideas will mix, and sometimes in the mornings, I don't know what even to dress up or to do the makeup, and then just clicks like that, and then boom, okay, I'll do the genie. That's what.
Yeah.
That was yesterday me.
And before you know it, you've been completely transformed. And as you say, you're getting suggestions from your followers. If people do want to see more of your work online, who are they looking for, and how do we find you?
Arte, Arturo. It's Artyarturo. Arturo. And that will see all my makeup and creations. And
so is that on Instagram, Facebook, and also on TikTok?
Yes, on TikTok is my full name, but I'm gonna put the link on my Instagram because my full name is quite long. It's Arturo N. Echeverria on TikTok. So yes, I'll put everything for the people and the followers to go on the Instagram, and then if they want to follow me on TikTok, they can link it.
Okay, check out Instagram, Arty Arturo, and you can see some of the creations that you're putting together there. Well, I say it is absolutely fantastic stuff.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, good to talk to you. Keep up the good work, and we look forward to seeing you transform yourself and your family into various other people as you stay at home during lockdown.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Susan Murray is putting smiles on people's faces, normally across the UK. She's kind of doing that just with her Facebook profile pic at the moment, and she joins me now for River Nata. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. So what's been going on in your world of late? I should think it's been a little quieter than normal.
Oh, well, literally all of my work just vanished in a puff of lockdown over the space of 48 hours. But, you know, it's the same for every comic, every musician, every DJ, anyone that works in entertainment, every actor, that's fine. All of our work has just suddenly evaporated because, you know, we rely on having actual bodies in a room.
Yep.
I don't mean dead ones, I mean live ones, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way that an audience is always better if it can applaud at the end of the set, isn't it?
Yeah. Rather than just decomposing, that wouldn't be good.
That's never a good look for an audience. But I mean, it's time, I suppose, for people to normally be thinking about writing their Edinburgh stuff, or at least honing what they have already. And I mean, you've already honed the work that you've been putting out there with How Not to Die in a Plane Crash. But there aren't any planes in the air at the moment as well. So your current obsession is going to be suffering from every angle.
My current obsession is constantly looking at flight radar and looking at it and going, hang on, there's still flights going from Europe to America, but I've made friends with an air crash investigator. This is true.
Right.
And I asked him, and he said it's mainly freight.
But it gives you something to watch late at night as you watch these little dots moving across a map.
Yeah, and actually he did text me one night and go, oh, there's been an emergency declared on a flight over Singapore. So I phoned the flight number. And you could see it doing an emergency landing and, like, you know, going down the runway and turning, and then you can see the because I've paid for my flight radar, obviously.
Yeah.
And you can see the emergency vehicles. I think, oh, it'd be great if you could just see there was like a little animation of some flames. It burst into flames, but actually it was fine, and it turned out just to be a naughty passenger, which is a bit of a disappointment. But never mind.
Oh dear. I mean, the world is going on around us in a slightly different way. I mean, what other take have you got on that at the moment? Because most of your time, I assume you sat down with a cup of tea and enjoying a bit of relaxation at the minute.
I've got to be honest, right? Stand-up comedians, we've been practicing for lockdown for literally decades because we're on our own all day. Do you know what I mean? And we're just pottering around the house. Do you know what I mean? Occasionally you might meet up with other comedians, all that kind of thing, but not very often. So we're so used to sort of spending time on our own. We're actually really, really good at it. And I think everyone's really missing, you know. I've got to be honest, I'm missing being in a traffic jam on the M6, which I never thought I'd say. I never thought I'd say that.
But the kindred spirits that you see in the car next to you all tapping along the steering wheel to the same song on the wireless, that's
I'm always playing the djembe in mine. I'm always drumming on my don't tell the highways agency.
No.
But yeah, and it's just I think everything feels a bit like, you know, do you remember like Sundays and bank holidays in the mid-80s in the Midlands, and everything was really boring and really quiet and everything was shut and there was nowhere to go and there was nothing to do. That's what every day is like, isn't it?
So I'm now looking forward to my once a week going out and getting some shopping in and actually seeing other people in a supermarket, but obviously keeping my distance because you never know.
Well, I mean, I've got to go to the post office in a minute and I'm so excited. It's like the highlight of my day. It really is. I went shopping. I decided to avoid the Easter rush for the shopping. And so yeah, I'm just like, I'm going out once a day. I'm going out for a run in a minute, which is why I'm dressed like a lunatic. And I'm going out every other day for a run, and that's a proper highlight. But there's people playing football in the park, and you're on a path and nobody swerves, and it's like social distancing doesn't exist outside. I go out and I come back. It's meant to be sort of like stress relieving going for a run, but I come out and I'm like fuming because people aren't. So I'm swerving around people, and no one's given the slightest toss. It's really, really irritating.
Yeah, it's not helpful. But I mean, you're effectively very socially distanced from your family just at the moment, because you're down in London. They're obviously all still up in the Midlands. But I know you've been training your mother on various bits of technology to keep in touch during this time.
Well, we tried to have a video call, and it took about 7 days of prep. Mm-hmm. And then I hadn't realised that their Wi-Fi is so, like, it's OAP Wi-Fi, so it's basically dial-up. So it was like trying to video call a fax machine. I was just getting like 6 different stills and the occasional like syllable. It was absolutely horrendous. And then the other day I put my mum on Facebook. Oh God, I had to sort out a new email address, then I had to give her the email address, and then I had to give her the password, and then I had to put her on, so we did a phone call, and it took 25 minutes just to get her logged in, because I was like, just open another tab and copy and paste the password. What's a tab? Oh God, just write it down. But I realised, for old people, when you're talking about like tabs and right click, because my friend said she said to her mum right click, and she was actually typing the word clicking. She was actually so it must be like a completely foreign language. Like, if you pitched up on Mars and you only understood every 4th word or something.
Yeah.
So she's telling the email address and password to my dad. He's mishearing. He's writing it down wrong. She can't log in. I can't work out what's going on. It was 25 minutes just to get logged in.
And now, is she looking at cat videos? Is that really how it works now?
No, because my mum is actually petrified of cats. Like, I've never known anyone as scared of cats. Like, literally, I've spent my entire life hearing every now and again, George, there's a cat! My mum freaking out when she sees a cat. But no, but it means I have to sort of like, because I'm quite swearing. She hates swearing, so I have to everyone can see this apart from. There's a lot of that going on my Facebook at the moment. Yeah,
none of the videos, nothing from any of your shows, just purely the safe for work stuff. So.
Yeah, the safe stuff. But we've got a lot of family on there. She's got a lot of nieces and nephews on there. My older nieces and nephews, and so it's quite a good way of her sort of keeping in touch, because you kind of forget how isolated old people are, because they don't. I mean, even if I've come off like a half-hour phone call, I look at my phone and there's a WhatsApp, there's a text, there's a Facebook message, there's an email. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just constantly in communication. You've got Twitter. You're just constantly in communication with people, and the older generation, they really don't have that. All they've literally got is the phone and Freeview, and you kind of forget that, and you just go, God, you don't even have a smartphone. How do you exist?
Yeah, my dad doesn't do the smartphone, but he is online pretty much the whole time. So he's normally watching football, and I think he's resorted to watching Russian football at the moment because there is nothing else to watch.
That's hilarious. When my mum, she had a smartphone for she lasted about 2 months, and then she gave up. She was literally going, because she can't use a touch screen, so she's virtually punching it, going, I can't get this thing to text. She's punching it in the face. I'm like, oh God. She's Glaswegian. She doesn't know, subtlety or gentleness. It's just not in her remit.
So, I mean, in this time, are you now working on a show to succeed after How Not to Die in a Plane Crash?
Yeah, I am. I'm updating it because there was a load of plane crashes that I didn't have time to get in the show, because you only got like 55 minutes, really. Obviously, all the safety tips will remain the same because they haven't changed, but there's a load of plane crashes that I did look at, like classics. Proper, like Tenerife and MH370, and there's a load of the kid in the cockpit when the Russian guy, the Aeroflot flight. So I'm looking at a load of that stuff. I've got the joy of having a friend who's an air crash investigator.
Yeah.
you know what? The other day I said to him, "Oh, why don't you set me a quiz? That'll be really fun." And I was thinking it would just be. I'm just thinking it would be questions like, what year was Tenerife? 1977, by the way. And then what he sent me was because the American crash investigation is called the NTSB, right? Mm-hmm. So he sent me an NTSB investigation animation of a runway incursion. Incursion is just like, it just means there was a cock up, basically. Yeah. And then he sent me the map of O'Hare Airport in Chicago and said, okay, what happened on this runway? So this is like, because he actually teaches air crash investigation. This was part of his course. And I couldn't figure it out right. And I was thinking, oh God, I'm just so thick. And then it turned out he'd sent me the map from the wrong year. And they'd renumbered the runways. It's like, well, how am I meant to work it out if the map's wrong? So we all learnt something that day.
But you're having a good time with it. You're working on that. Where can people go to find all of your online stuff and the things that we can enjoy whilst we can't see you in real life?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook all the time. So I've got a Facebook page and I've got a personal page, and it comes. I always share the things I'm on because I'm getting booked to do gigs by other clubs that I normally work at, places like Gag Club and the Comedia. So a lot of these clubs, they're all starting to do either live streaming on Zoom, or they're cobbling together old gigs that they filmed previously, or people are recording themselves and sending it in. So they're cobbling that together and then streaming it as live. So I always retweet stuff that I'm doing, and I always share stuff on Facebook. So it's just basically those two mainly.
Okay, check all that out. Look for Susan Murray and enjoy the content that's there, and be ready for more. And I'm hoping that you bring How Not to Die in a Plane Crash back to the Midlands fairly soon, so we can see the updates.
Hope to too.
Always good to talk to you. I will see you soon.
Have a good weekend. Happy Easter, Jason. Take care, mate.
Neil Curtis is an artist working out of Vienna. He has some interesting takes on the world, and in particular one series of work which looks at how people are defined by the clothes they wear and what happens when you take that away from them and cover them in body paint. To tell us more, Neil is with me now. Hello, sir.
Hi. Greetings from Vienna.
Well, good to speak to you, and good to see some of your work online. I mean, with what you do, it's very much taking an everyday view of people and not using their body as a canvas as we have seen in the past, but turning it into sort of the reverse of that. And through the concept of these 100 people you're working with, it really does take away all of those trappings that say they are one thing and makes everybody the same underneath.
Yeah, well, the Replace Closest Pain project is a very big project. It consists of 100 people who sacrifice their vulnerability, their body, their personality to the project. And the main idea of the project is that we are very stiff, we are very concerned about what people think about us, and we should just let go. We are here on this planet maybe for, 50 years or 80 years or something like that, and we should enjoy it. We should not be scared of, for example, of our nudity. And I myself was raised up in a very stiff way, in a very conservative way, and at some point I had to reclaim back my freedom, my power over my body, and I started to enjoy being naked. And I do not want to promote nudity in general. I think that we should be more relaxed about nudity in a context of art or in a context of sports.
I mean, if you look at art over the years, and nudity has been part of it, studying the human form and producing a still life, the sort of things that we've seen from cherubs through to voluptuous ladies relaxing on sofas, through art for many, many centuries. It's not a sexualised thing. It's studying the human form in the same way as we might do any of the other creatures on this planet, or even a bowl of fruit or something else that you're seeing around us. So, it is taking that human form. And what you're doing is in no way sexualised at all, is it?
I don't know. It's in the brain of the people if it's sexualized or not. We do not do it in a sexual way. We do it in a way. Let me just go back in the history of how the project actually started. So one thing was that I was in exhibitions, and when I make exhibitions, I sometimes make a performance at the beginning, and the people say it looks so interesting to see how the body transforms, because all the pictures in the exhibition are pictures like the ones behind me. So there are people who are already painted completely. And what we realized was that, first of all, showing someone doing painted is a very three-dimensional way. It's a very sculptural way. And also the people liked how one person all of a sudden became a completely painted body. So the person is at first a surgeon or a professor or a mechanic, and then the more we go on, the more he strips off the social, the things, the clothes that define him in our social world, and then transfers him into a world, you could say the world of Neil Curtis, my own art world or whatever. And in my world, the people are not defined by the clothes. They're not defined by the beard or the hair or whatever. They are defined by themselves, and they are like some people said I'm like a fashion designer. Could be. Yeah. I would love to make a fashion brand that's only based on a spray can, kind of, or a tin can. And but what's important for me is that when you look at all these videos, I previously said it's 100 videos. It's not yet 100 videos. It's now 69 videos. And when you look at all these videos, there's the point when the person leaves the comfort zone, and starts being naked and being painted. And the interesting thing is that once the body is completely painted, there is less of a sexuality there. It's many people also said they felt not naked in a way, and for me this is always very fascinating. Even if I look at people when they look at the videos for when I have guests and then I talk about my project or whatever, and then they see, okay, well, now he strips off his clothes, he strips off his t-shirt and his trousers, and then at some point the underpants, and this is the most scary situation for many, because this is now where they lost control. This is now where they are so scared about who's going to see it. But that's part of nudity. When you go to a nude beach, everyone is nude, sees you. You see the people.
But when you're working with these people, you talked about the different backgrounds there, and the way you've explored some of them is slightly different. There are different ways of interpreting some of these people. But you take somebody like your sleeper. So you've talked about jobs and things, but you take somebody who is actually effectively asleep. They take a sleeping tablet. This is part of their normal routine. That is their role. They start off with their teddy bear, working on that one. But when the sleeper is defined by something like bed hair, actually you take that away from them as well, and you shave this fella's head and beard away to take him down to completely the base of who he is, and that must be something that for the subjects you're working with, it changes their life for a period of time, as in way art does for many people when they experience something. So, it is more than just the hour or so, 2 hours that they're working with you. It is actually something that will stay with them. And how do you think that has felt to them when they feed back to you?
Yeah. Well, may I say something about the sleeper first? The whole project, Replace Closest Paint, is the project that is going to have 100 videos, and when you look at the videos, you can see all the little stamped version on my website neilcurtis.com. And when you look at the videos, you see that there's some kind of variation of different people. Some people are older, some people are younger. Yeah, they are surgeons, for example, so they are very respected people, and that the surgeon is actually a real person. And I want to have a variation, but I also want to have some kind of imagination layer on this project. And so, for example, there's one video which is called the Pizza Boy. And the pizza boy is actually knocking on my door, and then he gets inside and delivers me a pizza. And I tell him, I give him €100, and if he wants to participate in a cool project. and he sits on the chair, and I take the control over. So I strip him naked, paint him black, and then at some point he sits up and walks out. And I asked myself, how can I make this even more a situation of no control, you know? Because this is how life is, you know. Sometimes you do not have a control. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend who's he went to a party once, and he got drugs in his drinks, mm-hmm. and so-called knockout pills, and he fell asleep, and then he woke up in the morning and he had no clue about what was happening. And I did some investigation about how does a knockout pill work and so on, and then I realized this is actually an idea I could do. So I paint you, you are asleep, or you're sleeping, and in order to be sure you're really sleeping, you're taking these knockout pills. Mm-hmm. And the model was allowed me to do that. It was an experiment for him. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, oh, what is the limit, you know? And he said, I trust you. But I have to admit that the session is a psychological session, so I have to admit he was not unconscious. Yeah, so the session itself was faked because for legal reasons, you know, he would have allowed it to me, you know, but I would not be sure that everything would work out, or he might have I don't know, he might slip down on the floor, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what you see in the session, we did a lot of research. I even interviewed a few people who got knocked out. Mm-hmm. So the session is very realistic, and I wanted to push the limits even further, because for me in this project, it's very important to keep on pushing the limits. You know, this is why I also decided to do a very political statement with the guy from New York, the last video I published. Mm-hmm. And it's a video where I broke a rule, because my rule is that there is no audio in the videos. And I broke the rules because I have many friends in New York, and this guy represents one of my friends. And there's a layer of a collage of words that Trump said, and it's so absurd, you know. So I wanted to, use that as well.
Now, all of these videos themselves are to be presented in a sort of portrait view. Now, this is a view that we're often used to seeing on our telephones these days, but most art and most of what we see is in landscape format. So again, this is something which is a way of delivering this piece of effectively performance art that is different to what we would necessarily normally anticipate.
First of all, the project started about 8 years ago, and I was at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And I walked around and I saw many pictures, and I liked them, but they were a little bit boring. So I asked myself, oh God, I would love to have an exhibition in the Getty Museum, but I would do it completely different. Yeah. So the first idea was that pictures are not just static. The pictures have some kind of story to tell, or they are alive, you could say. And when I returned home from that trip, at some point I asked a friend and I said, sit down on the chair and I'm going to try something out with you. And he was sitting on the chair like I do here right now. And I replaced his clothes with paint. It was more like an experiment. It was not like, oh, we're now doing a big project, blah, blah. It was an experiment, a try out. And for me, it was very important to ask myself, how do I want to present these videos? And the idea was to present them in such an exhibition like in the Getty Museum. And so I turned the camera around and noticed it was 8 years ago. So that was the time before Instagram. I just did it because I wanted to, you know. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I turned it around, and it makes a lot more sense to film someone in vertical version, because then you can see everything. You don't only see the face, mm-hmm. and lots of space around the face. You see the face and the rest of it. And I made this video in this format, and I said that I want to keep doing this. And when people said, but you cannot show it anywhere. And I said, yes, I can show it, you know, because at the end there will be some kind of big film, you know, and you can see 3 videos at the same time. So the format actually makes sense when you go into editing and into further steps. There will also be a book, or actually 4 books about the project. So the book is also not widescreen, it's tall screen. So this format makes sense a lot, and that's why I choose it.
Well, your work is available online, this and other projects. Where, again, can people go to find more about everything you do?
Oh, my website is neilcurtis.com, and on the website you can find all the links to the project Replace Close Paint. I also make exhibitions, unfortunately, as you can imagine, not in time of COVID-19, but there is that Replace Close Paint project, and there are also other pictures that I just show in the body. You can head over to Instagram as well. Neil Curtis is the Instagram. You can find all the links on the website, neilcurtis.com. There's also Twitter, because when I publish new work, or when I'm releasing a new Replace Close Paint video, I'm publishing it there.
Well, Neil, great to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your art, and we look forward to seeing more from you in the near future as you head towards 100 in this particular project.
Yes, and maybe you are the number 100.
Maybe, maybe not. But either way, Neil, thank you.
See you, bye.
Max Fox is normally seen on stage in a red jacket singing some fantastic songs. However, a bit of a hiatus from that at the moment means we find him in his natural environment at home in a jumper. Hello, sir.
Hello, how's it going? You okay?
I'm good. You all right?
I'm all right, thank you. Getting on with the current lockdown, but scaling the walls.
Absolutely, yeah. I should think it's causing you a few problems. But I mean, it hasn't stopped you guys singing, because the Jerseys have been doing their bit in some of the lockdown music rooms over the last week or two, and sounding fantastic, may I say.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we managed to get on Lockdown Live, which had, I think it has 300,000 followers or something. It was absolutely crazy. So that was a cool platform.
Yeah, because normally, not only would you do your winter season, which you managed to get in, I managed to miss you in 2 venues by literally days, but you're also doing your bit up in Blackpool as well, because you've got a fantastic show that you run each year up there as part of their summer season.
That's right, yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, I started off in the Jerseys. We got together 7 years ago, and since we've done the Jerseys, we've done kind of numerous theatre tours. We sang for the Queen, which was amazing, and then we've set up a big company called International Shows, which has lots of different shows underneath it, and lots of shows. We have a residency in Blackpool for the Jerseys, for our other show, The Greatest Show. And then we've got some other things in the pipeline as well for this year, which we're having to kind of defer a little bit because of the current crisis.
Yeah, so a few things on hold, but it doesn't mean the music stops. And as I say, you're doing things online, and I suppose it gives you a chance to get together on Zoom meetings and whatever else with the rest of the lads and your MD, and really put together something that's going to be amazing for when you come back.
Oh yeah, exactly. As soon as we can get out of isolation and kind of get back to work, we'll be straight in the studio again, recording new songs, creating new choreography, and growing from there. But at the moment, everything is kind of on hold. We're doing what we can in terms of promotion online, which is quite important on a social platform to keep our audience kind of enticed and wanting to kind of join in. But yeah, it is tough at the moment, but it's tough for everybody. It's not just tough for us, and we're just all getting by as a community, aren't we?
Absolutely. Now, I mean, I have seen you on stage. You played in Birmingham. I'm trying to remember which theatre it was, but it was a couple of years ago when I last chanced to see you on
I think it'll be the Crescent Theatre.
I think it was, and I mean that is a fantastic venue. And with the whole show that you put on there, it really brought a bit of that seaside fun into the winter months. And what was it like touring around in the winter just gone? Because I know you were pretty much everywhere. I was seeing you on bus stops all over the place.
Yeah, we're absolutely everywhere. We did like a really big marketing platform over the past couple of years to try and push the brand out, push the name, and the theatre tours have done quite well. We're seeing kind of a growing trend and people are coming in to watch our show. It's getting good reviews. It's getting good feedback in the press as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing kind of what the future holds for sure.
And so with the greatest show that you do up there in Blackpool, I mean, many people from the Midlands heading up there. We've got, guest houses run by Midlanders all over the place. So, it's like a home from home when we do and go and visit, just we get the seaside. So, what is it that you've got as part of that one? I'm taking it, there could be a few hits from a massive film from a couple of years ago.
Exactly. It was I got the idea, it was back in November 2018, November 2018, and I was speaking to our manager called Ronnie, and I was kind of thinking outside the box and thinking what's going on, and there isn't many family shows that kind of go around the block. You've got Paw Patrol, you've got Disney on Ice, but you haven't got kind of a family-friendly variety show, which gave me the idea of creating the greatest show, as we'd call it. So it's music from The Greatest Showman, we've got music from Disney, and that was pretty tough. I had to call up California and have a conference call with Disney. That was crazy. About using licenses and getting rights. And I think I believe that we are the only company in the UK to be able to use Disney as part of our show outside of Disney. So that's really cool to do a theatre show with Disney songs.
Yeah, but it does just mean that they know the quality of the product that you're going to produce as well. And as I say, I've seen that when I've seen you on tour, and it'd be great to see the return not only to your usual venue in Blackpool, which I intend to come and see you at some time over the summer when we can, and we'll do a video interview in person there, which will be absolutely fantastic. But it will be well worth seeing you, whether it's this coming Christmas, probably just before at the Crescent in Brum.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. So we have had to postpone our date at the Crescent in Birmingham because of what's going on. But we have received a phone call from them, and they're looking into programming it later on this year. So it should be at the latter half of the year that we'll be back in Birmingham. And then with the Jersey show, we are on Sundays at Blackpool Pleasure Beach with a live band as well, which we haven't done before. So this year's all with a live band. And then we've got the greatest show as well on a Tuesday and Wednesday at the Pleasure Beach also.
And so that's all as soon as everything is back to normal, or as near normal as we can get. But we can still find some of your work online. Where do we go to see some of the video clips and things you've got on in the current format?
Yeah, so we're currently really targeting heavily on our Jerseys page. So if you type in the Jerseys or the Jerseys UK, all one word, it will come up with our page. We're doing some live videos. We've got another one we're releasing today with the original members of the Jerseys when we started 7 years ago. So we're doing a little live video this evening at 6 o'clock. We're going to be releasing that.
Okay, so check all that out online and enjoy some of the musical madness and fun that you guys will have, bringing some superbly sung songs to a screen near you. Max Ford, always good catching up with you. Look forward to seeing you in real life soon, but for now, stay safe and enjoy the music.
Thank you, you too. Thanks for having me today.
Well, that's your lot for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Back next week when we'll have even more for you on episode 565. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.